got to fight this guy. Oh, you got injured in camp. You lose to that guy too. Now you're set back when you could have been a champion.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of like weirdness going on with possibilities and, you know, just luck, bad luck, and good luck.
Bad luck and good luck. Timing, I think, is a big thing.
How is something like this allowed to happen? How is Jake Paul allowed to fight Gervonta Davis? It's completely unfair. It is completely just. I can't say the word that I want to say because I don't want to get canceled.
And then going out there and taking on a guy that is maybe 92 pounds heavier, that is at least 65 pounds heavier than you. That is called one thing. That's called being a bully.
Joe Rogan has sharply criticized Jake Paul for arranging a fight with Gervonta "Tank" Davis, pointing out the significant size difference between the two. He emphasized that weight classes exist for a reason to protect fighters and ensure fair competition. Rogan argued that by ignoring these limits, Jake is prioritizing promotion and spectacle over the integrity and safety of the sport. He warned that Jake's much larger frame and punching power could pose serious danger to Davis, making the matchup both unfair and potentially hazardous.
Sure, but no time limit within the weight class.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
That would be pretty. That would be pretty wild.
Yeah, that'd be pretty.
Because you know, like two guys are facing off each other, like, and they know, like, there's no rescue every 5 minutes.
Yeah. And you go into it knowing you're either getting knocked down or submitted, or you're doing that to the other person.
Michael Bisping has voiced strong criticism of Jake Paul's decision to fight Gervonta "Tank" Davis, highlighting the extreme weight disparity between the two. He noted that Jake is preparing to face an opponent who is nearly 100 pounds lighter, which undermines the fundamental fairness of the sport. Bisping reminded fans that Jake's previous matchup with 58-year-old, long-retired Mike Tyson had already raised eyebrows, and this new fight only deepens the controversy. According to Bisping, the bout doesn't seem rooted in fair competition, but rather in Jake's pursuit of an advantage for personal gain. He emphasized that boxing's integrity relies on evenly matched contests, and this fight appears so one-sided that it risks both the spirit of the sport and Tank Davis's safety.
One thing, that's called being a bully. It was bad enough when he fought Mike Tyson, a man that was 58 years old, and he was walking around I just beat the baddest man on the planet. I just destroyed Mike Tyson, went out there and I beat him. Him and his brother are all celebrating and like that. It's like, dude, what are you doing? What don't you understand about this? If you want respect from your peers, if you want everyone on the planet to look at you and take you seriously and give you credit as a boxer, you have to take on challenges that are real. You have to go up against someone that keeps you up at night, against someone that gets you out of bed in the morning to go for a run because the fear of them beating you down is real. Not going up against someone that is so small. If you go up to this guy in the bar and try and start a fight with them, people would look at you and say one word: whoa, stop being such a bully, leave him alone. You are way bigger than this guy. And that's clearly what we have here. It is ridiculous. When you look at the tail of the tape, Gervonta "Tank" Davis, granted, very, very skilled boxer, a world champion. That's a great win. He's got a tremendous career. He's got 28 knockouts on his record. I'm just looking at the tail of the tape here. 30 years old, Jake Paul 28. Gervonta Davis is 5'5" tall, whereas Jake Paul is 6'1". I would never dream on picking on a guy that is 5'5" tall. Granted, there's some tough guys out there that are 5'5", okay? They're smaller guys, but 5'5", they'll pack a good punch. Typically, they're mixed martial artists or boxers. Yeah.
Joe Rogan argues that Jake Paul's recent moves are driven more by promotion than genuine competition. He explains that these kinds of matchups are designed to attract casual fans and spark curiosity through unusual pairings. According to Rogan, the hype, betting chatter, and media buzz surrounding such events have little to do with true sporting value and everything to do with generating attention. He believes Jake has mastered the art of staying in the spotlight, using boxing as a marketing tool even when the fights themselves lack real competitive sense.
Things right. They should also have like the size of the ring, the size of the glove, all that stuff. Particulars should be in the contract, but I would probably look for one thing that is not the common thing to have in a contract in Tank. A ladder. A ladder. Can I get a ladder? Somebody? You know what I mean? Hey, look, all kidding, if he hits him on the chin the way he can punch, you know, Jake might be doing a dance. You know what I mean? Not voluntarily. We'll get into that more later. The thing that I'm talking about right here is what you said. It was stark. The size difference was really, you couldn't ignore it. We understand the talent difference, the experience difference. We understand all of that. But the size, the pure, and we understand small guys can beat big guys. We just saw Crawford do it to Canelo, but you know, a little different. The size difference was, I mean, it was eye catching, jaw dropping, and it made me think. And I'm going to ask Richie, our man here, who's doing all the taping, who does such a marvelous job. I'm going to ask him because I know he's an expert in this area. But it reminded me of one of the Rocky movies where they had the face, where they did the wrestling thing with Rocky and Hulk Hogan, a.k.a. Thunder Lips. It was Thunder Lips back there.
Leonard Ellerbe explained that Gervonta Tank Davis wasn't in the right mental state to face Lamont Roach. He noted that Tank had been dealing with several personal challenges and didn't want to add more pressure by taking that fight. According to Ellerbe, this lack of motivation was the main reason the matchup never materialized, despite fans' anticipation. He added that Tank chose to prioritize his personal well-being over proving himself in the ring, stepping back from the Roach fight to avoid unnecessary stress.
That's a problem. That makes it a problem. My opinion is, I just want to say, in case someone called me into court, I'm a fucking idiot and I don't know nothing. And don't take my advice.
I love the Saudis. I love the Israeli government. I love everyone.
That had nothing to do with them. That was Jake Paul promoting it. You know, it's just doesn't bother me.
There's compromising the sport, and that's like bad. It's just like
if I bet on it,
watching it with people who are so in on it, and then also man, the sports betting apps, they introduced like chat apps in them in Australia, so it's like they're trying to take the place of social media companies where you go together and you meet for it. Like betting should be exciting enough without having a weird.
They're just trying to draw you in. They're just trying to make money, right? So they're trying to draw you in any way they can.
Reports suggest that Gervonta Tank Davis is planning to retire after his upcoming fight with Jake Paul. According to insiders, this decision is driven less by a desire to solidify his legacy or chase more titles and more by the Reports suggest that Gervonta Tank Davis is planning to retire after his upcoming fight with Jake Paul. According to insiders, this decision is driven less by a desire to solidify his legacy or chase more titles and more by the opportunity to achieve long-term financial security. Many observers believe Tank accepted the fight primarily for the lucrative payout rather than competitive motivation or career advancement. Analysts note that Davis has faced considerable personal and professional pressures recently, which may have influenced his decision to take on a high-profile but unconventional matchup. Viewed in this context, the fight with Jake Paul appears to be a strategic move aimed at maximizing earnings and ensuring financial stability before stepping away from the sport.
What you make. Like, let's go band for band on what you make. Again, there's nothing wrong with Tank going to get his money, but let's all be clear that that's all the fight is for Tank. He's telling you without telling you that he's fighting Jake just because he's getting $40 million. But when we talk about boxing being dead, Tank has to line up at the front of the line. I can't blame him, but don't go around, oh, boxing's dead and people switch sides and all of that. He chose not to be great. That's it. He chose not to be great. Stuff like that, choices like that will kill boxing. For sure, on a competitive level, it won't kill it on a business level. On a business level, until people run out of interest in these kind of matchups, it'll do well. On a competitive level, choosing not to fight the best will kill the sport. So maybe it's better if people like Tank aren't in the sport. And I don't even say that because I want that to be the case. I think Tank is ridiculously talented, but you can't want a fighter to fight more than what they want. You can't. Tank fans or Tank people that like Tank and think he's one of the best, you can't want it. And then Shakur came back with, that's how I know you saw. I can't even go back and forth with you soft ass. You'd rather pop me on social media and get in that fire and get embarrassed. I get it. Peace and blessings upon you, cuz. He says, the people got your chest out so bad. I'm talking like you a killer, forgetting that you're the one that runs, bitch. I'll be bring the fight to you. This dude, a made-up character. Quote, blessings upon you. Clown-ass dude, wanna be Kevin Gates. Oh my goodness. I mean, here's the thing though. You can't say that stuff about Shakur if you're not willing to fight him. This is the point I think that we're going to come to today, is that Tank can say all this stuff he wants, but if you're not willing to fight Shakur, then none of it means anything to you. Even if you believe that Tank is going to knock him out, even if you believe that Shakur's a runner, or that he's not in the trenches, or he's not a boxer that's willing to bring the fight, or whatever, none of it matters. You're talking from the sideline because you won't fight it.
Daniel Cormier has voiced strong disbelief over the organization of the fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta "Tank" Davis, calling the entire setup flawed from the start. He recalled the press conference where even Tank seemed unsure about the fight's weight class, a detail Cormier views as a major red flag in a sport built on strict weight divisions for safety and fairness. The lack of structure and clarity surrounding the matchup, he argued, is deeply troubling. Cormier also emphasized the massive size difference between the two fighters, insisting that Jake Paul's physical advantage is simply too great to ignore. In his view, the fight pushes beyond the boundaries of what boxing should allow. He questioned how such a visibly uneven matchup was ever sanctioned, warning that it undermines the sport's integrity and poses real safety concerns for Davis. Ultimately, Cormier believes the bout reflects poorly on boxing standards, serving as a clear example of how entertainment has begun to overshadow genuine competition.
Jake Paul. Yesterday they had their first press conference. One of the most recognizable things is Jake Paul is huge compared to Gervonta Davis. And two, Gervonta Davis don't even know what weight they fighting.
Maximum weight of 195 pounds for this exhibition. The fight will be contested over 10 3-minute rounds.
I said 190.
The fight is 195 pounds, Tank, as you know.
DC, I watched this, and we have our priorities way misplaced when we're talking about boxing. Like, everybody's complaining about this. We acting up. Like, how is something like this allowed to happen? How is Jake Paul allowed to fight Gervonta Davis? It's completely unfair. It is completely just. It's. I can't say the word that I want to say because I don't want to get canceled. But this fight should not be happening, and the press conference was embarrassing. Gervonta Davis should not have a mic in front of him. It was absolutely embarrassing watching this.
Why, dude?
Just the fact that, like, every time when Jake Paul would say something to Gervonta Davis, he didn't know how to answer it. He was comparing himself to, like, P. Diddy at moments, and I was like, oh my God, get a mic away from this guy. This fight shouldn't be happening. And then he didn't even know what weight they were fighting. I thought it was bad, dude. 195.
That was the craziest thing. That was the thing that stood out to me the most. Was that when they go, the rehydration limit or something is 195. And he goes, wait, I thought it was 190. D. That's bad.
Gervonta "Tank" Davis has reflected on his career, admitting that his original goal was never to become a boxing champion. Instead, his primary focus was to earn enough money to change his life circumstances and create a stable future beyond hardship. For him, boxing served as a path to financial freedom rather than a pursuit of titles or fame. His ambition was rooted in achieving security and stability, not in building a legacy within the sport. A perspective that helps explain many of his recent career choices.
And while he's fighting YouTube sensation turned professional boxer Jake Paul, who is 12 wins, 1 loss, no draw, 7 wins by way of knockout, opposed to fighting against the likes of his peers who are well accomplished and superstars in their own right, but legacy fights like Shakur Stevenson, like Teofimo Lopez, like Devin Haney, why he's not interested in those fights. And he gets real, right? He gets real, and only thing we could do is salute him, right? Because he's saying, I never told y'all I wanted to be a world champion. I never told y'all I wanted to be undisputed. I got into this for myself and my circumstances to escape from my circumstances. And that's real. We can't blame him for that. We hold him in high regard because the statements he's made and misled people. when he said he got a hit list that he wants to check off before he retires, and that hit list includes Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, Lomachenko, who turned down the fight because of a severe back injury. And then he told the world, he told Champside, it would be great for him to become undisputed. So I think that he had a change of heart at some point in time along the way, right?